Have you ever been accused of stealing something that was legally yours while a crowd watched and judged you? I never thought a birthday cake could ruin my life, but there I was in Target on a Tuesday afternoon, holding a boxed confection with my sister's name on it while some guy screamed that I was a thief in front of what felt like half the city. Let me back up. My name is Noah Garcia. I'm 26 years old, and I work as a graphic designer for a small marketing firm downtown. I'm not the kind of person who gets into confrontations. I avoid conflict like it's my job. My friends joke that I apologize to furniture when I bump into it, which is honestly pretty accurate. So when I tell you that this situation spiraled completely out of my control, you have to understand that I tried everything to keep it calm. It started 3 weeks before the incident when my mom called me about my sister Lily's 30th birthday. Lily had been going through a rough patch, a breakup, job stress, the usual quarter-life crisis stuff that hits some people in their late 20s. Mom wanted to do something special, something that would remind Lily she was loved and appreciated. The plan was simple, a surprise party at Mom's house with close friends and family, nothing fancy but heartfelt. I volunteered to handle the cake because I figured it was one thing I couldn't mess up. Just pick it up and transport it safely. Easy, right? I ordered it 2 weeks in advance from Target's bakery, paid in full, got my confirmation number and everything. The cake was supposed to be a vanilla and raspberry layer cake with cream cheese frosting, decorated with purple and gold flowers because those were Lily's favorite colors. The bakery associate, a friendly woman named Claire Harper, wrote down all the details and assured me it would be ready by 3 in the afternoon on the day of the party. The party was scheduled for 6, which gave me a comfortable 3-hour buffer. I'm a planner by nature. I like having extra time built into everything in case something goes wrong. Little did I know that I should have padded that timeline even more. On the day of the party, I left work at 2:30 and drove straight to Target. The store was moderately busy for a Tuesday, not packed but definitely not empty either. I made my way to the bakery counter in the back corner of the store, past the produce section and the deli, following the scent of fresh bread and cookies. There was no line when I arrived, which I took as a good sign. Claire wasn't there. Instead, a younger guy named Owen Mitchell was working the counter. He looked stressed, kept glancing at the phone like he was waiting for something important. I gave him my name and confirmation number, and he disappeared into the back room to retrieve my order. While I waited, I checked my phone. My mom had texted me twice asking if I had the cake yet. My friend Benjamin Scott had sent me a funny meme. Normal stuff. I was relaxed, completely unprepared for what was about to happen. Owen came back carrying a white bakery box. Through the clear window on top, I could see purple and gold decorations. He set it on the counter and I leaned forward to double-check the name. There was an elegant script, "Happy Birthday, Lily." Perfect. I paid the remaining balance. I had some kind of deposit situation going on that I honestly didn't fully understand, but whatever, thanked Owen, carefully picked up the box, and turned to leave. That's when I heard the voice behind me. "Hey, excuse me, that's my cake." I turned around. Standing there was a man I'd never seen before in my life. He was probably in his early 30s, taller than me by a few inches, wearing a polo shirt and khakis like he'd just come from an office job. His face was already red, and he had this aggressive stance, shoulders back, chest out, like he was ready for a fight. I glanced down at the cake box in my hands, then back at him. "I'm sorry, what?" "That cake. That's mine. I ordered it for my girlfriend's birthday." He pointed at the box. "It says Lily right there." Owen, still behind the counter, looked between us with growing alarm. Sir, that cake was ordered by this gentleman." The man, who I would later learn was named Ethan Lewis, shook his head vigorously. "No, that's impossible. I ordered a cake for my girlfriend Lily 2 weeks ago. I got a confirmation and everything." I felt my heart rate pick up. This was already more confrontation than I typically dealt with in a month. "Look, I ordered this cake 2 weeks ago too. It's for my sister. Her name is also Lily." Ethan's eyes narrowed. "That's convenient." "It's not convenient, it's just a coincidence," I said, trying to keep my voice level. "Lily is a pretty common name." "Let me see your receipt," he demanded. I shifted the cake box to one arm, carefully, and pulled out my phone to show him the email confirmation. He barely glanced at it before saying, "That doesn't prove anything. You could have made that up." Owen interjected, "Sir, our system shows that this order belongs to Noah Garcia. If you placed an order, it would be under your name." "Then check my name," Ethan snapped. "Ethan Lewis. Look it up." Owen, clearly uncomfortable, typed something into the computer. His brow furrowed. "I do see an order under that name, but it's not ready yet. It's scheduled for pickup tomorrow." "Tomorrow?" Ethan's voice rose sharply. "Her birthday is today. I specifically said I needed it today." "According to our records, you selected tomorrow's date," Owen said apologetically. "That's bullshit. I need that cake today." Ethan pointed at the box I was holding. "And that one has her name on it, so obviously there was a mix-up. I'm taking it." He actually reached for the box. I pulled it back instinctively, my conflict avoidance instincts warring with the absolute necessity of getting this cake to my sister's party. "You can't just take my cake because you made a mistake with your order date." "I didn't make a mistake," Ethan hissed. "Someone here screwed up, and I'm not letting my girlfriend's birthday be ruined because of it." By now, other customers were starting to notice the commotion. A woman with a shopping cart full of groceries had stopped a few feet away, watching with undisguised interest. An elderly couple near the deli counter craned their necks to see what was happening. I felt heat creeping up my neck, that horrible prickly sensation of being the center of unwanted attention. "Look, I'm really sorry about your situation," I said, forcing myself to sound calm, "but this is my cake. I ordered it, I paid for it, and I need to get it to my sister's party that starts in less than 2 hours. And I need it for my girlfriend's birthday dinner that starts in 1 hour," Ethan shot back. So clearly my need is more urgent. This logic was so absurd that I actually laughed, which was apparently the wrong response because Ethan's face went from red to almost purple. "You think this is funny?" "No, I think this is ridiculous," I said. "Owen, can you please confirm again that this cake belongs to me?" Owen nodded emphatically. "Yes, sir. That's your cake." "Mr. Lewis, I'm really sorry about the confusion with your order, but I can have your cake ready by tomorrow as scheduled, or if you'd like, I can see if one of our other decorators can rush an order for today." "Tomorrow doesn't help me," Ethan said. "I'm not leaving without a cake." "Then order one of the pre-made cakes from the case," I suggested, nodding toward the refrigerated display case a few feet away. "They have some really nice ones already decorated." Ethan looked at the case with disdain. "Those are generic. I ordered a custom cake. This is a custom cake. It has her name on it." "It has my sister's name on it because I ordered it for my sister," I said, my patience starting to fray. "Prove it," Ethan challenged. "I already showed you my confirmation email." "Show me your ID then. Prove that you're really Noah Garcia." This was getting absurd, but I was also aware that a small crowd had gathered. I didn't want to cause a scene, and I definitely didn't want this to escalate into something that would delay me getting to the party. So I pulled out my wallet, extracted my driver's license, and held it up. Ethan barely glanced at it. "That doesn't prove the cake is for your sister." "What do you want me to do, show you a birth certificate?" I was starting to lose my cool despite my best efforts. "I want you to admit that you're trying to steal my cake." "I'm not stealing anything. This is literally my cake." Owen, bless him, tried again to mediate. "Gentlemen, please. Mr. Lewis, I can offer you a discount on a rush order, where you can select one of our display cakes at 50% off." "I don't want a discount. I want that cake," Ethan insisted, pointing at the box in my arms like it was a diamond ring or something equally precious. "Well, you can't have it," I said firmly. "We'll see about that." Ethan turned to Owen. "I want to speak to a manager." Owen looked relieved to have an excuse to escalate this. "Of course. Let me call someone." While we waited for the manager, Ethan and I stood there in tense silence, surrounded by curious onlookers. I clutched the cake box, hyper-aware of every shift in weight, terrified that this stupid confrontation would result in me dropping it. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Probably my mom again. I couldn't check it without risking the cake's safety. The manager who arrived was a woman named Madison Foster, probably in her 40s, with the practiced smile of someone who had dealt with countless customer disputes. What seems to be the problem, gentlemen? Ethan immediately launched into his version of events, painting himself as the victim of a bureaucratic error and me as some kind of opportunistic cake thief who was taking advantage of the situation. He spoke with such conviction that I almost wondered if he genuinely believed his own story. When he finished, Madison turned to me. "And your side, sir?" I explained the situation as calmly as I could, showed her my confirmation email, my ID, everything. Madison checked the computer system herself, confirming what Owen had already told us. "Mr. Lewis, I understand your frustration, but this cake belongs to Mr. Garcia," she said in that firm but pleasant tone that managers perfect. "Your order is scheduled for tomorrow. If there was a miscommunication about the date, I sincerely apologize, but we can't give you another customer's order." "This is unacceptable," Ethan said. "I'm a loyal customer. I shop here all the time. And you're telling me that you're going to ruin my girlfriend's birthday because of a technicality?" "It's not a technicality, it's literally his cake," Madison replied. "How do you know he didn't change his pickup date to today just to screw me over?" I stared at him. "Why would I do that? I don't even know you. Maybe you saw my order and decided to mess with me." "That's paranoid and insane," I said. "Don't call me insane," Ethan snapped. "Gentlemen," Madison interjected, her smile becoming strained. "Mr. Lewis, I'm going to have to ask you to select an alternative option or leave the bakery area. You're disrupting other customers." It was true, the crowd around us had grown. Some people had their phones out, which filled me with dread. The last thing I needed was to end up on social media as the guy in some viral cake dispute video. Ethan crossed his arms. "I'm not leaving without a resolution. The resolution is that Mr. Garcia takes his cake, and you either order a Rush custom cake, select a display cake, or pick up your order tomorrow as scheduled," Madison said, her tone becoming firmer. "Or," Ethan said, "I call the police and report a theft." "Are you serious right now?" I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "You want to call the police over a birthday cake that isn't even yours?" "If that's what it takes to get justice, yes." Madison sighed. "Mr. Lewis, if you call the police, they're going to confirm exactly what I'm telling you, which is that this cake belongs to Mr. Garcia. You'll be wasting everyone's time, including your own." "Then I want to see security footage," Ethan declared. "I want proof that he actually ordered this cake." This demand seemed to catch Madison off guard. Security footage of what, exactly? Of him ordering the cake? Or of anything that proves this is really his? "Sir, we don't keep footage of bakery transactions from 2 weeks ago," Madison explained. "And even if we did, I'm not authorized to show it to customers for a dispute over a $20 cake." $35, I corrected automatically, then immediately regretted it because Ethan seized on it. $35? That's exactly how much my cake cost. More proof that this is mine. Or proof that custom cakes cost around the same amount, I countered. This back and forth continued for what felt like hours but was probably closer to 15 minutes. Other Target employees had gathered nearby, watching the spectacle. My arms were getting tired from holding the cake box, and I was acutely aware that time was ticking away. It was already close to 4, which meant I had less than 2 hours to get to my mom's house, and with traffic, that was cutting it close. Finally, Madison made a decision. "Mr. Lewis, I'm going to have to ask you to leave the bakery area. If you continue to harass Mr. Garcia, I'll have to call security and have you removed from the store." "Harass?" Ethan's voice hit a pitch that made several people wince. "I'm trying to get my girlfriend's cake, and you're accusing me of harassment?" "You're preventing another customer from leaving with his purchased item," Madison said. "That's creating a hostile environment." Ethan looked around at all the watching faces, and something in his expression shifted. I saw calculation there, like he was weighing his options. Then he pulled out his phone. "Fine. I'm calling corporate. This is discrimination." "It's not discrimination, it's store policy," Madison said wearily. But Ethan had already stepped away, phone to his ear, presumably calling either corporate or perhaps actually the police. Madison turned to me. "Sir, I'm so sorry about this. You're free to go. If he continues to bother you, please let me know immediately." I nodded, grateful for the permission to escape, but as I turned to leave, Ethan shouted, "If you leave with that cake, I'm pressing charges for theft." I froze. Madison said, "Mr. Lewis, you cannot press charges for theft of an item that doesn't belong to you." "We'll let the police decide that," Ethan said. And that's when I realized he'd actually called the police. Through his phone, I could hear the faint voice of a dispatcher. He was giving them the address, describing the situation as a theft in progress. My stomach dropped. I looked at Madison, who looked equally shocked. "Is he seriously calling the police?" "Apparently so," she said. She touched my arm. "Don't worry. When they get here, we'll explain the situation. You haven't done anything wrong." But I was worried. I had visions of being detained, of missing the party entirely, of my sister's surprise being ruined because I was stuck at Target dealing with police over a cake dispute. It was absurd, but it was happening. "How long until they get here?" I asked weakly. "It depends on how busy they are," Madison said. "Could be 10 minutes, could be an hour." I pulled out my phone and called my mom. She answered on the first ring. "Noah, do you have the cake?" "I have the cake, but there's a situation," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. I explained what was happening as briefly as I could. My mom was silent for a long moment. Then she said, "He called the police over a cake?" "Apparently." "Noah, just leave. You have the receipt, you have proof it's yours. You don't need to wait for the police. He said he'd press charges if I left." "He can't press charges for something that isn't a crime," Mom said, her voice taking on that steely quality she got when someone was threatening her kids. "Madison already confirmed it's your cake. Just go." I wanted to, but I was also terrified of making the situation worse. What if Ethan's girlfriend really did have a birthday today? What if there really was some kind of mix-up in the system, and his cake had been given to me by mistake? I didn't think that was the case, but the seed of doubt had been planted. Madison must have seen the indecision on my face because she said, "Mr. Garcia, you have every right to leave. But if you want to wait for the police to clear this up, you can certainly do that too. It's your choice." I decided to wait. In hindsight, this was probably the right decision, even though it was agonizing. I texted my mom to let her know, and she replied with a string of angry emojis and a promise to stall the guests if necessary. The police arrived about 20 minutes later, which felt like 20 years. 2 officers, a man named Officer Julian Brooks and a woman named Officer Harper Reed, listened as both Ethan and I explained our sides. They checked our IDs, looked at my confirmation email, examined the cake through the box window, and conferred with Madison, who pulled up the order records on the computer. The whole thing felt surreal. Here I was, a law-abiding citizen who had never so much as gotten a speeding ticket, being investigated by police over a birthday cake. After what felt like an eternity, Officer Brooks said, "Mr. Lewis, the records clearly show that this cake belongs to Mr. Garcia. Your order is scheduled for pickup tomorrow." "But that's wrong," Ethan insisted. "I ordered it for today. Someone made a mistake." "Even if that's true, this particular cake is not yours," Officer Reed said patiently. "You can't take someone else's order because you're unhappy with your own situation. So I'm just supposed to show up to my girlfriend's birthday dinner with no cake? You can purchase one of the display cakes, or you can order from another bakery," Officer Brooks suggested. "But you cannot take this gentleman's cake." Ethan's jaw clenched. I could see him struggling with the reality that he wasn't going to win this. Finally, he said, "I want to see the security footage." Officer Reed raised an eyebrow. "Security footage of what?" "Of the bakery. I want proof that I'm wrong." "Sir, we've already established through the store's records that you're wrong," Officer Brooks said. "I want to see it anyway." Madison, who had been watching this exchange with barely concealed exasperation, sighed. "Fine. If it will end this, I'll request the security footage. But I'm telling you right now, it's not going to show what you think it shows." She made a call to the security office, and a few minutes later, a security guard named Josiah Campbell arrived with a tablet. "You wanted to see footage of the bakery area?" he asked Madison. "Apparently," she said, gesturing to Ethan. Josiah pulled up the footage and started scrolling through. "What dates are we looking at?" 2 weeks ago, I said. When I placed the order. Josiah scrolled back and fast-forwarded through hours of footage. Finally, he found a clip showing me at the bakery counter talking to Claire Harper. You could see her writing down my order details, see me paying the deposit. It was all there, clear as day. There, I said, feeling vindicated. That's me ordering the cake. Ethan barely glanced at the screen. That doesn't prove anything. Keep scrolling. I want to see if there's footage of me ordering my cake. Josiah looked at Madison, who nodded. He continued scrolling through the footage. And that's when things took an unexpected turn. About a week after my order, the footage showed Ethan at the bakery counter. He was talking to Owen Mitchell, gesturing emphatically. After a few minutes, Owen went into the back and returned with a white bakery box. He handed it to Ethan, who opened it, looked inside, and immediately shook his head. He pointed at something on the cake, and even though there was no audio, you could see he was upset. Owen took the box back, looked at it, and seemed confused. Then Ethan reached over, grabbed a pen from the counter, and appeared to scratch something on the cake through the open box. Owen tried to stop him, but Ethan pulled the box away, wrote or scratched something more aggressively, then shoved the box back at Owen and stormed off. The security guard paused the footage. Everyone stared at the screen. What was that? Officer Reed asked. Madison's eyes widened. Oh my God. I think I know what happened. She turned to Owen, who had been watching nearby. Owen, do you remember this? Owen's face had gone pale. Yes. He came in last week saying he wanted to check on his order. I thought he was just being proactive, so I pulled the cake that was scheduled for pickup that day because the name matched. But when he saw it, he got angry because the decorations weren't what he wanted. I tried to explain that it wasn't his cake, that his wasn't ready yet, but he got really agitated. Then he grabbed a pen and scratched out the name on the cake before I could stop him. What name did he scratch out? Officer Brooks asked. Owen hesitated. It said Happy Birthday, Lily. He scratched through the Lily part and wrote something else. I don't remember what. But the cake was ruined, so I had to throw it away and remake it. That's the cake Mr. Garcia picked up today, the remake. Everyone turned to look at Ethan, whose face had gone from red to white. That's not, I didn't, that was different. You damaged someone else's cake, Madison said, her voice cold. You scratched out the name on a cake that belonged to another customer, ruined it, and forced us to remake it. And now you have the audacity to claim that the replacement cake is yours? I didn't know it was someone else's cake, Ethan stammered. The guy said it was mine. I said I thought it was yours because the names matched, Owen corrected. But I also said I needed to check because the decorations were wrong. You didn't let me finish explaining before you vandalized it. Officer Reed was taking notes. So just to be clear, Mr. Lewis came in last week, believed he was looking at his own cake, damaged it when he saw it wasn't decorated to his specifications, and that cake had to be remade? Yes, Madison confirmed. And the cake he damaged was the one originally ordered by Mr. Garcia? Correct. I felt a strange mix of emotions. Relief that the truth was finally coming out, anger that this guy had damaged my sister's original cake, and a kind of stunned disbelief that all of this had actually happened. So when he saw my cake today, the one with Lily's name on it, he assumed it was his because he'd seen a cake with that name before, I said slowly, piecing it together. But he didn't realize it was the same order, just remade after he destroyed the first one. Looks that way, Officer Brooks said. He turned to Ethan. Sir, do you understand that you've wasted police time and emergency resources over a cake that was never yours to begin with? Ethan's mouth opened and closed. I made a mistake. You made several mistakes, Officer Reed said, including damaging store property and harassing another customer. Madison crossed her arms. Mr. Lewis, I'm going to have to ask you to leave the store. And I'm formally banning you from this location. If you return, you'll be charged with trespassing. What? You can't do that. I absolutely can, Madison said. You vandalized store property, you harassed a customer to the point where we had to call police, and you've wasted everyone's time with false accusations. You're no longer welcome here. Ethan looked around at all the faces staring at him, many of them holding phones that were clearly recording. The reality of the situation seemed to finally sink in. "Fine," he muttered. "This store sucks anyway." He turned and stalked off, nearly knocking over a display of chips in his haste to leave. Officer Burks followed him to ensure he actually left the premises. Officer Reed turned to me. "Mr. Garcia, I'm sorry you had to deal with this. You're free to go with your cake. Have a good day." I thanked her, thanked Madison, thanked Owen and Josiah, and finally left the store with my sister's cake. It was now past 4:30, and I had to drive like a maniac. Okay, not really like a maniac because I'm a careful driver, but faster than usual to get to my mom's house in time. I arrived at 5:45, 15 minutes before the party was supposed to start. My mom nearly tackled me at the door. Oh, thank God. I've been checking my phone every 2 minutes. "Did you really have to deal with the police?" "I really did," I said, setting the cake carefully on the kitchen counter. It was the most bizarre experience of my life. Over the next few hours, as guests arrived and we threw the party, I told the story over and over again. Everyone was appropriately shocked and outraged on my behalf. Lily, the birthday girl herself, couldn't believe that someone had tried to steal her cake. Only you could get into a police situation over baked goods, she teased me. The party was a success. Lily loved the cake, loved the surprise, and seemed genuinely touched by the effort everyone had put in. When we cut into it, the purple and gold flowers were perfect, the layers were moist and delicious, and everyone agreed it was worth the drama to get it there. But the story didn't end that night. A few days later, I got a call from Madison at Target. "Mr. Garcia, I wanted to follow up with you about what happened. First, I want to offer you a full refund for the cake as an apology for the situation." "That's really not necessary," I said. "It wasn't Target's fault. Even so, we want to make it right. Also, I'm sending you a $50 gift card for your trouble. And I wanted to let you know that we filed an incident report about Mr. Lewis, and he's been permanently banned from all Target locations in the district." "Wow, that seems serious." "His behavior was serious," Madison said firmly. "He damaged store property, harassed a customer, made false reports to police, and created a hostile environment. That's not something we take lightly." I thanked her for the follow-up and figured that was the end of it. But then, about a week later, my phone started blowing up with notifications. A friend had tagged me in a video on TikTok. Someone at Target that day, probably multiple someones based on all the different angles, had recorded the confrontation. Someone else had somehow gotten a hold of the security footage, the part showing Ethan scratching out the name on the original cake, and edited it together with the confrontation footage. The video had gone viral, absolutely viral, with millions of views. The comments were overwhelmingly in my favor. People were calling Ethan entitled, crazy, aggressive. Some people made memes out of screenshots of his face when he realized he was wrong. It was simultaneously gratifying and uncomfortable to be at the center of internet attention. A few news outlets picked up the story. I got interview requests from local TV stations. The whole thing spiraled in a way I never could have anticipated. For about 2 weeks, I was the cake guy, the innocent man who'd been wrongly accused of cake theft and vindicated by security footage. Eventually, the internet moved on to the next viral story, as it always does. But the experience left me with some interesting reflections. I thought a lot about Ethan, about what would drive someone to be so aggressive and unreasonable over something as simple as a birthday cake. Maybe he was having a terrible day. Maybe he really did believe there was a mix-up and he was fighting for what he thought was right. Or maybe he was just an entitled jerk who couldn't handle being told no. I also thought about my own response. I'm proud that I stayed calm, that I didn't escalate the situation further even when he was being ridiculous. But I also wish I trusted my gut and just left when Madison first cleared me to go. Waiting for the police added stress I didn't need, even if it ultimately led to the truth coming out. Most importantly, I learned that life can throw absolutely absurd situations at you when you least expect them. You can do everything right, order your cake in advance, show up on time, have all your paperwork in order, and still end up in a confrontation with a stranger that requires police intervention. Sometimes the world is just weird and unfair and all you can do is hold onto your cake box and wait for sanity to prevail. The gift card from Target was nice. I used it to buy my mom flowers and a card thanking her for being patient during the whole ordeal. The refund on the cake meant I could take Lily out for a nice dinner a few weeks later, just the two of us, to celebrate her birthday properly without drama or strangers or police involvement. As for Ethan Lewis, I have no idea what happened to him. I hope he learned something from the experience. I hope his girlfriend, if she exists, got her birthday cake somehow. I hope he reflects on his behavior and maybe works on his conflict resolution skills. But mostly, I just hope I never see him again. The whole experience became something of a legendary story in my family. At Thanksgiving dinner a few months later, my Uncle Theodore brought it up. "Hey Noah, remember when you got into a fight at Target over a cake?" "It wasn't a fight," I corrected. "It was a strongly worded disagreement that escalated due to one party's inability to accept reality." Everyone laughed. Lily raised her glass. "To my baby brother, defender of birthday cakes and upholder of justice in the bakery section." We all clinked glasses, and I smiled. Because at the end of the day, the story had a happy ending. Justice prevailed, the bad guy faced consequences, and my sister got her birthday cake. In a world that often feels chaotic and unfair, sometimes things actually work out the way they should. And I never have to worry about ordering another Target cake again because now I have a standing discount at a local bakery whose owner saw the viral video and offered me free cakes for life. Which is excessive, but I'm not complaining. Life is weird, people are unpredictable, and birthday cakes are apparently worth fighting for. But in the end, truth wins out, security footage doesn't lie, and karma has a way of evening the score. I still work as a graphic designer. I still avoid conflict when I can. But now when people ask me if I have any crazy stories, I have one that's pretty hard to beat. The time a stranger accused me of stealing his girlfriend's birthday cake at Target, and security footage proved he was the one who'd caused the whole mess in the first place. It's a good story. And the cake, for what it's worth, was delicious.